If you're ready to speak English naturally and effectively, don't just watch. Start applying these tips today. Pause this video, pick one technique like shadowing or chunk learning, and practice it right now. The sooner you start, the faster you'll see results. And remember, learning is always easier with support. So share this video with a friend who's also improving their English. Let's grow together. If you found this helpful, hit the like button. It really helps this video reach more learners like you. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss the next lesson, and turn on notifications so you're the first to know when new tips drop. Drop a comment below telling me which strategy you're going to try first, and I'll personally reply with extra tips to help you succeed. Your journey to fluent, confident English starts here. Take that first step today and keep moving forward. When I first decided to learn how to speak English naturally and effectively, I had no idea where to start. I thought speaking English was just about memorizing vocabulary and grammar rules. But I quickly realized that real communication was much more than that. Natural English is about rhythm, tone, and confidence. It's about sounding like you belong in the conversation, not like you're reading from a textbook. I began by listening, and I mean really listening to how native speakers talked. I watched movies, listened to podcasts, and paid close attention to everyday conversations. I didn't just focus on the words. They were important, but so were the pauses, the contractions, the casual phrases, and even the little fillers like, you know, I mean, and well. I started repeating what I heard, mimicking the sounds, the intonation, and the way the sentences flowed. At first, it felt strange, but the more I practiced, the more natural it became. I stopped translating in my head and started thinking directly in English. This was a huge turning point. I also realized that I needed to stop chasing perfection. Natural English isn't perfect. It's real. People make small mistakes, pause to think, and change their sentences midway. Accepting that made me feel more comfortable speaking. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect sentence, I just spoke. I joined online speaking clubs, practiced with language exchange partners, and forced myself to use English in real situations like ordering food, giving directions, or making small talk with strangers. Slowly, my speech began to sound more like everyday English, not the stiff, overly formal version I'd learned in textbooks. The second thing I learned about speaking English naturally and effectively was that it's not just about pronunciation, it's also about connection. You could say all the words correctly, but if your tone is flat and your expressions are lifeless, the conversation will feel forced. I started studying body language, gestures, and facial expressions that match my words. For example, when native speakers greet each other, they don't just say hi or hello. They do it with a certain energy, sometimes a smile, sometimes a nod, sometimes even a little wave. I began practicing these things too, because communication is a package deal. Your voice, your words, and your expressions all work together. I also made a habit to learn real phrases that people actually use. Instead of only learning, how are you? I learned variations like how's it going, what's up, and how have you been? This made my speech sound more authentic and relatable. One of my biggest breakthroughs came when I started using chunk learning, memorizing common word combinations instead of single words. Phrases like at the end of the day, to be honest, and on the other hand, started flowing naturally in my speech. This not only made me sound more fluent, but also gave me time to think ahead in conversations without awkward pauses. Another trick was shadowing, listening to a short piece of English audio and repeating it immediately, matching the speed, tone, and rhythm. This exercise trained my mouth and brain to work together faster. Over time, I noticed that my English became smoother, and I no longer struggled to find words in the middle of a sentence. I was speaking more freely, and people responded better because I sounded more like them. One thing many learners overlook is that speaking English effectively also means listening effectively. If you don't understand what others are saying, you can't respond naturally. I train my listening skills daily by exposing myself to different accents, British, American, Australian, and more, so I could adapt to various speaking styles. In real life, people don't always speak slowly or clearly. They use slang, they shorten words, and they mix formal and informal language. To prepare for this, I listen to talk shows, interviews, and everyday conversations online. I also practiced active listening, focusing completely on the speaker instead of just waiting for my turn to talk. This helped me respond appropriately and keep the conversation flowing. Another important part of effective English is choosing the right words for the right situation. For example, the way you speak in a job interview should be different from how you speak with friends. I learned to adjust my language level depending on the context, which made my communication more effective. I also embraced storytelling as a tool. When I shared personal experiences, I noticed people listen more closely and remember what I said. Storytelling gave my English more personality and emotion. I stopped being afraid of pauses, too. Silence is not a sign of weakness. It's a natural part of speaking. Instead of filling every gap with a or I learned to pause confidently. This made me sound calmer and more in control. I realized that the most effective speakers aren't always the fastest. They're the ones who make the listener feel comfortable and engaged. Finally, I discovered that speaking English naturally and effectively is a lifelong process. Even now, I'm still learning new expressions, improving my pronunciation, and adjusting my style depending on who I'm talking to. The key is consistency. Practicing every day, even for just a few minutes, keeps your skills sharp. I make it a point to think in English when I'm alone, narrating my actions, or describing what I see around me. This habit keeps my brain in English mode and makes speaking easier in real conversations. I also try to surround myself with English in different forms: books, social media, music, and news, so I'm always picking up new vocabulary and ways of expressing ideas. Most importantly, I approach English as a tool for connection, not just a subject to study. I focus on expressing my thoughts clearly, listening to others, and building rapport. When I make mistakes, I see them as opportunities to learn rather than failures. I've met people from all over the world, shared ideas, and even built friendships through English. That's the true reward of learning to speak naturally and effectively. It opens doors, builds confidence, and connects you to more people than you ever imagined. It's not about sounding perfect. It's about sounding real, confident, and engaged. With daily practice, active listening, and a willingness to step out of your comfort zone, anyone can achieve it. I started as someone who was nervous and unsure, but today I can speak freely, join any conversation, and truly enjoy communicating in English. And that's a transformation worth every bit of effort I put in. Now you've seen exactly how I went from nervous and unnatural to speaking English fluently, confidently, and naturally. The key is daily practice, thinking in English, and using real-life phrases that make you sound authentic. Remember, perfection isn't the goal, connection is. Every time you speak, you're building skill, confidence, and flow. Don't wait for the right time to start. The right time is now. Practice shadowing, listen actively, and speak without fear of mistakes. Each conversation is a chance to improve. If you commit to these habits, you'll be surprised how quickly your English transforms. So start today, speak out loud, connect with people, and watch your fluency grow. If this video helped you, hit like, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more tips to take your English to the next level. Your journey to natural, effective English starts right here, right now.